This is Cam. I'm Senior National Training Manager with Diode LED, and we're going to get started with our next reel-to-reel on VALENT RGBW and in the new VALENT RGBW terminal block splice connector. So obviously this is reel-to-reel. It's 15-minute deep dives on either single product families or single products, usually every month on the first Monday. So I'm excited about this one. I think this is our 20th reel-to-reel. We're going to get right into it here. Let's move over here to the high-level specs. Today, like I said, it's going to be on VALENT RGBW. The tape-like terminal block splice connector is really where we're going to focus. This is a terminal block that was designed and engineered to be able to work exclusively with the VALENT RGBW tape light. And so as you can see here, we're going to first start though with the current portfolio and talk about what else we have within the VALENT family. We're going to focus a little bit on VALENT RGBW and the differences. We do have a new update that just happened recently where we added a VALENT RGBW with a 6500 Kelvin chip versus just having the 3000 Kelvin chip. This is going to allow you to be able to create different types of pastel colors that are more unique and harder to capture with a 3000 Kelvin chip exclusively. But going through the VALENT portfolio, as of the day, we have VALENT X static white. Obviously, anytime you see that X with our current portfolio, that just means either longer warranties or longer max runs or higher lumen output or higher CRI. So VALENT X static white, but then we also have the drop down, more cost-effective VE version, which is our VALENT static white. Really, the difference is you're reducing that lumen from maybe 800 lumens a foot to 500 lumens a foot, or maybe 95 CRI to 90 CRI. But recently, in the last year, we have really expanded our VALENT family. So we have now we have VALENT Warm Dim. This is a 2 LED chip. We do have a VALENT X Warm Dim on the horizon. I've even seen the prototype. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we'll have another higher end offering with VALENT X Warm Dim that's really unique and beautiful. You're going to have to get a sample of it. And then we also have new tunable white. So VALENT X tunable white, we have a past reel-to-reel. If you look it up on YouTube, on the Diode LED YouTube page, you'll find it under VALENT Family New Editions. And we really talk a lot more in depth with the VALENT X tunable white product and how that unique third chip, which we call an anchor chip, allows you to hug that black body curve so that every CCT that you're tuning to, you're having very, very consistently high CRI. But we also, if you need another VE option, but still want something that is tight pitch, we have the VALENT tunable white as well. We also came out with the VALENT RGBW, which we'll talk about a little bit more exclusively, but now the expanding off of that, the VALENT RGBTW. And so I know RGBTW has not really taken a hold yet across the country. We are seeing it a lot on some coastal types of projects, but now you have the ability to be able to have any type of CCT you want within that CCT range. So 2700 Kelvin up to 6500 Kelvin. You can do any saturated color, and then you can also mix any type of CCT back into those colors to create really billions of different options. So today, really, some of the things I just want you to focus on, or that I want you to remember when thinking about these two products that really come together, create a nice cohesive system design in the field that gives installers the ability to be able to splice and make good RGBW connections in the field without having to solder. So with our VALENT RGBW, really the main key differences between that RGBW versus maybe our Streamlight, which is our dotless RGBW, is that it's going to be a little bit brighter, specifically with all of the colors on, and it's going to be definitely a higher CRI with that 3000 Kelvin chip or 6500 Kelvin chip. So saturated RGBW lighting, really for those high performance color changing applications. Okay, also thinking of it as a high density LED placement. So that's what I love about the VALENT RGBW or VALENT RGBTW or any of the platforms that we have within the VALENT family, is that you're still going to get that uninterrupted linear light. So we have done a great job with our printed circuit boards to be able to fit both of those LEDs in there and keep it nice and tight so that you can have it in low profile channels without having runaway diffusion, and that you'll still get nice even illumination as the light disperses into a surface area. Okay, also thinking about with VALENT RGBW connectors, right, our splice connectors, the main thing is to be able to give people a secure in-field connection for 5-conductor, which has always been difficult. There's plenty of RGBW connectors out there, but they're bulky, they're sometimes very expensive, they don't fit inside of channel profiles. Also, there's ones that are snap downs that are just, they burn up very quickly. They just do not give you that secure connection that you need in the field. And then also the fact that we're trying to, help the industry move forward with solderless connections. And obviously soldering is the #1 connection in tape light if you want something that's secure and low profile. But we're hoping today we'll be able to show you how this connector, I think, has really changed the game on being how low profile we were able to create it to still be able to fit in most of the majority of our channel profiles. Okay, and obviously in the end run, the idea is these engineered solutions. So this took us a very long time to design and engineer. This is in Diode LED fashion. We didn't want to come out with something unless it really changes the game. But the whole goal, right, of our company is not only to provide you high quality lighting, high quality customer service, but also giving you that ease of use when utilizing our product line on your projects. So let's talk about specifications here. So we're going to look at the VALENT RGBW tape light first. So as you can see here, I have a little diagram there just showcasing the difference. So the little tiny yellow LED chip that's right next to the tri-chip chip, that is, you can get that again in 3000 Kelvin or 6500 Kelvin. I strongly suggest getting a sample of this because it's actually surprising to see the difference on what 6500 Kelvin does when mixing it into colors versus 3000. Hopefully I'm going to be able to show it to you on camera today. It will be a little bit difficult, but you'll see what I'm talking about here in the future. It can really create unique pastel colors. And obviously we have the solder pads and the cut points. We say 2 inches, but technically it's 1.96 inches. This is 24 volt, 6.1 watts per foot. Very good efficacy for a RGBW tape light, specifically high density. And then, like all of our tape light, it's 12 millimeters at the dynamic level, which is really 0.47 inches, 16.4 foot max run. Keep that in mind that it is very difficult when you're using RGBW and adding that extra white chip to be able to go longer than that 16.4. We do have other products that are just RGB that can go a little bit longer in max run. Maybe someday in the future we'll be able to, kind of figure out a solution for this, but as of now in the industry, for the most part across the board, it's usually about 16.4 feet. And then with all lumens on, you're looking at about either 305 lumens a foot for the 6500 Kelvin or 291. Now, some people, I asked the same thing when VALENT RGBW, when Streamlight RGBW first came out. I was like, why wouldn't you just use Streamlight RGBW? It's a dotless tape light, same max run. It's only about 30, 40 lumens less, but really in RGBW lighting, even 40 lumens is quite a bit of a significant difference. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking of VALENT RGBW. You can get definitely more of a punch out of it, but also you have a much better CRI and gamut fidelity, which is really just hue and saturation when using that 3000 or 6500 Kelvin chip. So, and then the spool options, we're at 16.4 feet or 100 feet, and these are one of our tape lights that you will get 3 feet of lead wire on each side, so that you can create at least 2 runs off of that spool with a nice factory soldered lead. 7-year warranty, of course, in Diode LED fashion, always some of the longest warranties in the industry. All right, and then to the main thing I really wanted to talk about today, so the VALENT RGBW terminal block splice connector. Now, I want to keep in mind the reason why we're using the word splice connector and not just a terminal block connector is that when I showcase this in the demo, keep in mind that the 5-conductor wire that is connected to the little connector is always going to be there. You're going to order this as either a 36 inches or 72-inch whip, and it's already pre-whipped. This way, you're not having to make the small little connections and screw downs in the field. Okay, and so again, this is really exclusively only for VALENT RGBW. So just keep that in mind. You cannot use this with other RGBW tape lights, specifically even our Streamlight RGBW. We are working on maybe some things in the future that will have a specific connector for that. But that is why we are going with the name, right? VALENT RGBW terminal block splice connector, okay? And then you're getting that, it's going to be a 20 gauge 5 conductor, nice wire strain on it. Again, like I said, the lead options, you have 36 inches or 96 inches. It's an indoor damp location. Does have a pretty good ambient temperature down to -4 all the way up to 122 degrees. And then my favorite part is a lot of the connectors out there have either no warranties whatsoever or maybe a 1-year or a 3-year warranty. Our splice connector has a 5-year warranty. So very low profile, as you can see. I wanted to show on the far left the 2 pictures to showcase the difference on the top view versus the bottom view. Notice how those are already connected to that connector, is why that's a splice connector. You're not having to deal with inserting every single wire in the field, which would really take a lot of time and be very labor intensive. You really just have to make that connection with the splice, a 5 conductor wire somewhere in either a little junction box, somewhere hidden out of sight, obviously, to avoid having it be an eyesore, I should say. And then channel compatibility. Just wanted to showcase the what is compatible with this splice connector. So the 1-inch and 2-inch mud-in, our 16 millimeter. Reason why I want to focus on the 16 millimeter, I'm going to be showcasing a couple samples here of that channel. That is by far my favorite channel profile to use with any type of dynamic color changing. So all of our different tape light, it looks the best. It gives you enough of a deep cavity so that you can have really good even illumination from one edge of the lens to the other edge of the lens. And then also the A1 is my second favorite that we have tested with all of our different dynamic color changings. And you'll notice they're just a little bit larger, but that's the point, is to give you enough space for that light to disperse to make it evenly illuminated. And then as you can see, a few others, S2, recessed, the sconce, 24, the S45, so. Awesome. All right, I'm going to switch over here and showcase this in person. So I wanted to start out with, I have 2 different 16 millimeters here, and I want to just give you a little quick view of the 16 millimeter. So nice deep cavity. Okay, has a raceway underneath. You can do nice hidden clips here, some wire management if you wanted to. And again, it's not super big, but it's big enough to allow that lens to be far enough away from the actual VALENT RGBW tape light to give you nice even illumination. So I have 2 different ones here, and let me look at them and see the, I'm going to have a splice connector on here, just so I can show you them separately. And I'm going to pick colors together. Now, of course, this is unfortunately not going to show as good as I wanted on camera. But let me go and choose a color. And I'm going to try to choose the exact same colors here and give you just an example of the differences between the 6500 and the 3000. So what you're looking at here, this is on the left side here is the 6500 Kelvin, and then on the right side here is the 3000 Kelvin. And I'm going to show you both with the light shooting up, and then I'll also showcase it this way to see if we can see a difference on camera. So I'm going to go into one of them here, and I'm going to kind of change it around here. Second here. So let's go and try to find a nice white light here. Okay, boom. I'm going to take out, I put all the white in there. Okay, and I'm going to go to the same one here. All right, so you can kind of see it, but not really, unfortunately, on camera. I'm going to try to go like this and see if you can notice a little bit of a difference. But in view, of course, the reason why this is difficult catching this on camera is because white light is the most difficult to capture. But if you actually see this in person, this is a true 6500 Kelvin. It has a little bit of a tint of blue in it versus this is still that nice warmer light. I'm going to try to also choose a, let's go to like a red here. I'm going to pull out, I'm going to keep the white in there, but I'm going to make it where it's more of a pastel red color and see if we can capture this on camera as well. 1 second here. Okay. You can kind of see that much better here. So this is the exact same red. Okay, now notice on right here is on the left side is the 6500 Kelvin. On the right side here is the 3000 Kelvin. So this is capturing it a little bit better, but it is much more, I would say, much more noticeable in person. And I actually love it because I was able to create some really unique like oranges and a lot of amber colors that are very difficult to capture with the 3000 Kelvin. Now I know that sounds surprising, but with the 6500, it doesn't mix with that red as intensely, and you can actually kind of create more accurate pastel colors than the actual 3000 Kelvin, which still has a little bit of that amber white light in it. So again, definitely suggest getting a sample of this. I always know it's difficult trying to capture everything on camera here. Now I wanted to show you, okay, the splice connector before it's actually connected to the tape light. So you can see here, this is just the 36-inch version. The obviously comes with a 72-inch. It has, again, the pre-tinned 5-wire connections. You can see here, nice and pre-tinned. We give you plenty of room to be able to insert it into a decoder, a Kasambi module, any type of controller and module. And then I wanted to show you here up close. Okay, so it is just 2 screws. Now, the way we were able to achieve this, and this was super unique on how we went about creating this connector. So imagine screws are still pretty wide. So if you try to do 5 screws, it's going to create a really large connector and not fit in most of our channels, or almost none of our channels. The difference is if you do the snap downs, those actually you can make very skinny. But again, snap downs, they burn up easily. They don't work that well. So if you are used to our regular terminal block connectors, we use what's called a patented sled system. Okay, and it's a sled that when you insert the tape light, it sits on top of the tape light and wire, so that when you screw down, right, you push down, you now can't over tighten and pierce the tape light or the wire. It's a super unique way that we went about our connectors. And what we did is, instead of taking 2 sleds for 2-wire connectors, we actually just combined the sleds and went horizontal. And in this way, when you hit the screws, you push down that larger sled and it makes all the connections onto those solder pads. Really ingenious way to allow us to do screw down RGBW connectors, but keep it in that 12mm format that can then fit in most of our channels. So, and then I wanted to show you also it connected to VALENT RGBW. And so I want to get a little close up here. Okay, so you can see the solder pads. Okay, this is obviously, you're seeing the chip, which is the larger one. And then you have the little 3000 Kelvin chip. And then it was really easy. So we practiced a lot with these. I would say this is maybe even easier using than our regular terminal blocks. And so obviously this is already pre-whipped. It comes like that. You can see underneath here, they're already pre-crimped. Okay, and then all I did is just take a little bit of that liner off. Okay, and then I just slowly untighten the screws. I had to untighten them pretty good and then be able to insert it in there, but it makes a really nice snug connection, specifically when you take off that liner. So now it's in there really well, and then I just obviously held it together and then screwed down very tight, and it makes a nice connection. And I wanted to show it to you on too, because that clear is really nice. It allows, actually, it's hard to see it over the camera again, but you're actually getting quite a bit of light here by the connector. I'll show it to you closer up here. So really nice, beautiful, aesthetic connector again. That's very low profile. So awesome. So I'm excited about this. This is something that the industry has needed for a while. I'm hoping that we'll come out with some nice connectors for chip on board as well. And then I wanted to, before we start Q&A, just again talk about the training opportunities that we have. So just remember, we do have a new training section on the Diode LED website. So you can find out under resources, click it. You can then sign up for the reel-to-reels. If you have someone on your company that's not signed up, you can even take a look at factory training, or even then go check out our YouTube page. This is just a little landing page for the factory training. And then now our YouTube page, Ted on our team has done an amazing job at really expanding our YouTube page. So we have a whole bunch of different one-off videos as well as actual series. So the Reel to Reel series, like I said, this is our 20th one. We have plenty of them. Now, all saved, ready, recorded. You can access all of those video series. But also we have things like the Light Lab series, which is our hands-on training series where we're actually building out products, showcasing how you do the end caps, using Loctite, everything like that. Everything that goes into those little nuances and tips and tricks, as well as even a new one that I wanted to put on everyone's radar is the Why It Matters series. So these are 3-minute quick deep dives, but it's videos on things like CRI, ingress protection, lumens, all these different things, but you can utilize these videos for your homeowners or your clients when you don't want to have to try to explain why it matters to have a good CRI. You can show them this video. It's very well edited, very entertaining, but also quick and digestible. So let me show you a couple last things here on just the, I'll go here just really quickly, right? That's just our Light Lab. And then virtual trainings. Okay, we will, if you guys need to sign up, please reach out to us as well. We can get other people in your company signed up for some of these different series that we have. And then I'll just kind of skip to the end here, and we'll get into Q&A here. So Ted, do we have any questions today? Okay, awesome. If you do have any questions, let me get to the end here. I'll show you, we have an email that I want you guys to utilize for all training things. So you can do training at diodeled.com. Please keep these training related or something that was maybe something that I missed on this training. You can ask this question about one of the splice connectors. And then also if you have any project related inquiries, please reach out to info@diodeled.com. So. And if we don't have any questions, I'm Cam. Thank you for joining us today. I'm excited for the next one. We have some really cool reel-to-reels coming up that are kind of perfectly aligning with some new product updates that are coming. So very excited about that. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you on the next one.